In a quiet corner of the galaxy, there was a small human colony named New Hope. It was a peaceful place filled with laughter, children playing, and families working together. Among them was a brave girl named Lily. At just 13 years old, she was known for her courage and cleverness. She often helped her friends and family, always ready to face any challenge. One sunny day, everything changed. The sky turned dark as a huge spaceship appeared overhead. It was unlike anything the humans had seen before. The ship was massive, shaped like a giant claw, with flashing lights and strange symbols. The colony's alarms rang out and panic spread through the streets. Families rushed to their homes, locking doors and hiding in fear. Lily's heart raced as she watched the ship from her window. She wanted to help, but she felt small and powerless. Just then, a loud crash echoed through the air. The aliens had landed. They stepped out of the ship, tall and frightening, with green skin and sharp claws. Their eyes glowed like fire, and they moved with a cold, cruel confidence. They shouted in a strange language, pointing their weapons at anything that moved. Lily's parents quickly gathered her and her younger brother, Sam. "Stay close to us," her mother said, her voice trembling. But Lily's curiosity pushed her forward. She peeked through the window, watching the chaos outside. She saw the aliens grab people and drag them toward their ship. Suddenly, an alien noticed her. With a quick movement, it pointed directly at her. "Get her!" it shouted, its voice booming. Lily's heart dropped as she realized she was their target. She ran away from the window, but it was too late. The door burst open and 2 aliens stormed in. "Help!" Lily cried, but her family was too far away. The aliens grabbed her, lifting her off the ground. She kicked and screamed, trying to escape, but their grip was too strong. They dragged her outside, ignoring her cries for help. Lily's eyes filled with tears as she looked back at her home, the place where she felt safe. As they pulled her toward the ship, Lily spotted her parents running towards her, fear etched on their faces. "No! Let her go!" her father shouted, but it was no use. The aliens pushed him back, their weapons raised. He stumbled but quickly got up, ready to fight for his daughter. The ship's door opened, revealing a dark, ominous interior. It looked like a giant metal cave, filled with strange machines and bright lights. Lily struggled against her captors, but they were too strong. They pulled her inside, and the door slammed shut behind her. Inside the ship, everything felt cold and alien. The walls were smooth and shiny, and the air was filled with a strange humming sound. Lily felt a shiver run down her spine. She was alone, taken from everything she loved. The aliens pushed her into a small, dark room and locked the door. Lily's heart raced as she realized the terrible truth. She was trapped. The aliens wanted to use her for their experiments, to study her like she was some kind of animal. She felt angry and scared, but deep down, a spark of defiance grew within her. "Just because they have taken me doesn't mean I will give up," she thought. "I will find a way to escape." She started to look around the room, searching for anything that could help her. The walls were bare, but she noticed a small vent near the ceiling. Lily took a deep breath and began to plan. She knew she had to be brave and smart. She had heard stories about heroes who never gave up, and she wanted to be one of them. She would not let the aliens win. As she sat in the dark, Lily felt a mix of fear and determination. She would fight back. She would escape. No matter what it took, she would find her way home. Little did she know that her bravery would soon inspire others to join her in the fight against the aliens. This was only the beginning of a battle that would change everything. Lily sat alone in the dark room of the alien mothership. The metallic walls felt cold against her skin, and the strange humming sound made her shiver. She was scared and confused, but she knew she had to stay strong. The memory of her family filled her mind, and she clung to that thought like a lifeline. Hours passed, or maybe it was days. Time was hard to tell in this dark place. The door finally opened, and 2 aliens walked in. They were tall and menacing, with sharp claws and glowing eyes. One of them, who seemed to be the leader, pointed at her and spoke in a harsh language. "Time to learn," it growled, its voice echoing in the small room. Lily's heart raced as they dragged her out. She struggled, kicking her legs, but they were too strong. They took her down a long hallway filled with strange machinery and bright lights. The ship was vast, and she could hear the sounds of other captives in the distance, screams, cries, and the metallic clanging of doors. They brought her into a large chamber that looked like a lab. The walls were lined with strange instruments that glowed and beeped. A table in the center was covered in tools, some of which looked very sharp. Lily's stomach twisted at the sight. She realized this was not just any room. It was a place where the aliens performed experiments on their captives. The aliens forced her onto the table, strapping her down with cold metal bands. Panic flooded Lily's mind as she fought against the restraints. "Let me go! Please!" she screamed, her voice filled with fear. The alien leader leaned over her, its eyes glowing brighter. "You will learn, human," it said with a cruel smile. It picked up a small device that buzzed ominously. Lily's heart raced as the alien brought the device closer. It pressed it against her arm and a sharp pain shot through her. She gasped, trying to pull away, but the bands held her tight. The alien watched her with delight, enjoying her suffering. "Stop! Please stop!" she cried, tears streaming down her face. But the aliens only laughed, their voices echoing in the chamber. They continued their tests, probing her with various instruments. Each time they recorded her reactions, studying her fear and pain as if they were the most important things in the universe. As the torture continued, Lily tried to focus on her breathing. She thought of her home, her parents, and her little brother Sam. She imagined their faces, hoping they were safe. "I have to stay strong," she told herself. "I can't let them break me." One day, as the tests continued, something unexpected happened. The alien guard, the one she had noticed before, hesitated. He was young, his eyes not as cold as the others. He watched Lily with a mix of curiosity and pity. For a moment, he seemed torn between his duty and his conscience. Lily saw the doubt in his eyes and decided to take a chance. "Please," she said, her voice trembling but determined. "You don't have to do this. We're not your enemies. I just want to go home." The guard shifted uncomfortably, glancing at his leader. "You don't understand," he replied quietly, his voice barely above a whisper. "If I don't follow orders, I will be punished." Lily felt a spark of hope. "But you don't agree with what they're doing, do you? You can help me. We can escape together." The guard looked at her, his expression softening. For the first time, he saw her not just as a captive, but as a person. I will try," he whispered before quickly leaving the chamber. Days passed, and the torture continued. Each time the guard returned, he seemed more determined to help her. He began to sabotage the equipment during tests, making it seem like the devices were malfunctioning. Lily realized he was risking his life for her, and she felt a bond growing between them. As time went on, Lily grew stronger, both in body and spirit. She refused to let the aliens defeat her. With each passing day, she gathered information, learning about the ship and its weaknesses. She knew that soon, the moment would come when she would need to escape. Lily had made a friend in the alien guard, and together they would find a way to fight back against the torturers. The spark of hope grew brighter in her heart as she prepared for the battle that lay ahead. She was determined to survive, to escape, and to show the aliens that humans were not weak. They would strike back, and they would not be defeated. Back on New Hope, the atmosphere was tense. The once peaceful colony was now filled with worry and fear. Lily's parents, Mark and Anna, had gathered the community together in the town square. People whispered among themselves, their faces pale. Everyone was afraid for Lily, but they also felt a spark of determination. "Lily is strong," Mark began, his voice shaking but filled with resolve. "We cannot give up on her. We must do everything we can to save her." Anna nodded, tears in her eyes. "She's brave, and she needs us now more than ever." "We can't let those aliens take her from us," the crowd murmured in agreement. Some nodded while others looked uncertain. They had heard stories of the aliens and how powerful they were. But deep down, everyone knew they had to try. "We need a plan," said an engineer named Greg, stepping forward. He had worked on the colony's defenses and was known for his clever ideas. "We can't just storm the ship, it's too dangerous. We have to be smart about this." The crowd listened carefully as Greg laid out his thoughts. "We'll need to gather supplies and weapons. We can use our old mining equipment and turn it into tools for the rescue. If we can get close to the mothership, we can create a distraction while a small group sneaks in to find Lily." Mark looked around, trying to gauge the crowd's feelings. "Who is willing to join the rescue team?" he asked, his voice strong. A few hands shot up, and one by one more people raised their hands, each determined to help. "I'll go," said Sarah, a skilled mechanic who had worked with Greg before. "I know how to handle machines." I can help create distractions. I'll come too, added Tom, a former soldier. I may not have my old gear, but I can fight. I won't let those aliens take another person. As they formed their rescue team, the group quickly began to discuss the plan. They decided to work at night when the aliens would be less alert. They would gather materials and prepare their makeshift weapons, ready to use everything they had. Meanwhile, on the alien ship, Lily was also making plans. The young guard, whom she had come to trust, visited her often. She had learned his name, Zorak. He was different from the other aliens. He didn't seem to enjoy torturing her. Instead, he often talked to her about his life and why he was there. One night, after another round of cruel experiments, Lily whispered to Zorak, I need to escape. I believe my people will come for me. You could help me, Zorak. We can do this together. Zorak looked at her, his expression serious. I am not supposed to help you, he replied softly, glancing around to make sure no one was listening. But I want to. I will do what I can. Lily's heart raced. If we can disable the ship's systems, it will give my people a chance to rescue me. They are planning something. I can feel it. Zorak nodded, understanding the importance of her words. I can help you get to the control room, but it will be risky. If the others catch me, I will be punished. Then let's do it carefully, Lily urged. We need to act when you have the chance. You can distract them while I work on shutting down the systems. As the days passed, both the humans on New Hope and Lily on the mothership worked hard on their plans. They were determined to succeed even if the odds were against them. Back in the colony, the team was gathering the last of their supplies. They crafted makeshift weapons from mining tools, turning pickaxes into spears and heavy metal sheets into shields. They practiced their moves, preparing for the battle ahead. The night of the attack arrived. The moon was bright, casting shadows on the ground. The group felt nervous but ready. As they made their way toward the alien ship, they remembered Lily's bravery. They would fight not just for her, but for their home, and for all the lives the aliens threatened. At the same time, Lily and Zorak moved through the dark hallways of the mothership. Lily felt a rush of hope. They were about to face their challenges together, and she knew that with courage and determination, they could escape. Both groups, unaware of each other's actions, were preparing for a battle that would change everything. It was time for the humans to strike back. The plan was set in motion, and no one would stop them from saving Lily. The night was still as the rescue team made their way toward the alien mothership. The moonlight illuminated the landscape, casting long shadows. Mark, Sarah, and Tom led the group, their hearts pounding with a mix of fear and determination. They could see the massive ship hovering above them, its lights blinking ominously. Stay low and move quietly, Mark whispered to the team. We need to get close without being seen. As they crept forward, the sounds of the night surrounded them, the rustle of leaves and the distant chirping of insects. It felt like the calm before a storm. They reached a clearing where they could see the ship more clearly. Its metallic surface glinted in the moonlight, and the guards stood watch at the entrance. Tom surveyed the scene. We need to create a distraction, he said. That's our best chance to slip in unnoticed. I can handle that, Sarah replied confidently. She pulled out a small device they had crafted from old mining equipment. This will make a loud noise over there. She pointed to a cluster of rocks far from their position. With a nod of agreement, the team moved into position. Sarah set the device and activated it. A loud bang echoed across the field, and the guards turned, rushing toward the sound. Now! Mark shouted. The group dashed forward, their hearts racing. They reached the ship's entrance, and with a quick push, they slipped inside. The interior was dark, illuminated only by flickering lights. They could hear the hum of machinery and the distant sounds of alien voices. Lily, where are you? Mark whispered, calling out as they moved through the ship's narrow corridors. He hoped she could hear him. He had to find his daughter. Meanwhile, on the other side of the ship, Lily and Zorak were also on the move. They had reached the control room, but it was heavily guarded. Zorak looked worried as they peered through the door's small window. There are too many of them, he whispered. I can't get you past them, Lily thought quickly. We have to create a diversion, she said. Maybe I can act sick. If they come to check on me, you can knock them out. Zorak hesitated, but then nodded. It's a risk, but it might work. Lily took a deep breath and began to groan, clutching her stomach as if in pain. Help! Please, someone help me! She cried out, her voice echoing in the hallway. The guards turned their attention to her, concern replacing their previous focus. What is wrong with the human? one of them asked, rushing toward the door. "Zorak now!" Lily whispered urgently. With surprising speed, Zorak leaped into action. He opened the door and tackled the first guard, knocking him out cold. The other guards rushed to the noise, but Zorak was quick. He grabbed another guard and pushed him against the wall, making a loud thud. "Go, Lily! Quickly!" Zorak urged as he held off the remaining guards. Lily dashed into the control room, her heart pounding. She quickly searched for the main control panel. It was covered in buttons and screens, but she focused on one large red button labeled System Shutdown. She pressed it, praying it would disable the ship's systems. Back in the hallway, Zorak fought valiantly against the remaining guards, using his strength and agility. But the odds were against him, and he felt the weight of their blows. He knew he had to hold on until Lily could complete her task. Meanwhile, Mark and his team were moving deeper into the ship, encountering a few aliens along the way. They fought with their makeshift weapons, surprising the guards with their determination and fierce spirit. Every clash echoed with the hope of saving Lily. "Keep going!" Mark shouted as he took down another guard. "We're getting closer!" Finally, as Lily pressed the button, alarms blared throughout the ship. Red lights flashed, and a loud voice echoed, warning of a system failure. "No! No!" Lily cried, realizing she had triggered a lockdown. The guards outside the control room panicked. "What is happening?" one of them shouted. They rushed to their stations, trying to regain control. Lily felt a rush of adrenaline. "Zorak, we need to go. Now!" Zorak nodded, knowing their time was running out. They dashed out of the control room, and the chaos outside only intensified. The ship was in disarray, and they took advantage of the confusion. Mark and his team were not far behind, and just as they turned a corner, they saw Lily running toward them, Zorak right behind her. "Lily!" Mark shouted, rushing forward. "Dad!" she cried, and they embraced tightly. "We need to get out of here!" Tom shouted. "The ship is going to explode!" The group moved quickly through the ship, dodging guards and avoiding traps. Together, they fought back against the aliens, their hearts filled with determination. They were ready to strike back, and nothing would stop them now. As they made their way to the exit, the ship began to shake violently. Alarms blared and the lights flickered. Time was running out. They could feel the weight of the battle behind them, but they pushed on, united in their mission. They would escape, and they would be free. The dust began to settle as Mark, Lily, and their team escaped the alien mothership. They stumbled onto the barren ground of New Hope, gasping for breath. Behind them, they could hear the distant rumble of the ship's systems failing, an echo of their victory. Lily looked back, her heart racing. "Did we really do it?" she asked, disbelief filling her voice. Mark squeezed her shoulder, pride shining in his eyes. "We did, Lily. We fought for you and we won!" The group had taken heavy risks, and the injuries they sustained were evident. Sarah had a bruise on her cheek, and Tom was limping, but everyone was alive. They had come together to face the darkness, and now they stood as a united front against the threat of the aliens. As they turned away from the ship, they saw the colony in the distance, a familiar sight that filled them with hope. They began their walk home, each step filled with relief and gratitude. But their journey wasn't over. The group knew the alien threat had not been completely eliminated. As they approached the colony, they were met by others who had gathered to hear the news. Faces filled with concern turned to expressions of joy as they saw Mark, Lily, and the others return. "Lily!" her mother Anna cried, rushing forward to embrace her daughter. Tears streamed down Anna's face, and Lily held her tightly, the warmth of home wrapping around her. "Everyone, listen!" Mark called out, raising his voice to gather the crowd. "We need to stay alert. We have won this battle, but the aliens will not give up easily. We must prepare for their return." The crowd murmured, their expressions a mix of fear and determination. They had seen the power of the aliens and knew that they were a dangerous enemy. "We will rebuild," Mark continued, his voice steady. "We'll strengthen our defenses and train to protect our home. Together we can face whatever comes next." Tom stepped forward, bandaging his arm as he spoke. "We should use what we learned from the mothership. We can study their technology and find ways to defend ourselves better. We have a chance to understand our enemy." The community began to come together, their spirits rising. They started discussing their next steps, eager to share ideas and plans. The mood shifted from despair to hope. They were not just survivors, they were warriors ready to defend their home. Meanwhile, in a hidden chamber on the mothership, the alien commanders gathered, their faces tense. They had lost a battle but were far from defeated. "These humans are stronger than we thought," one commander growled. "They have courage and they are united. We must prepare a greater force for our next attack." Another commander nodded. "We will not underestimate them again. We must strike when they least expect it. We need to gather more ships and more warriors." Back on New Hope, the humans worked tirelessly to rebuild their defenses. They set up watchtowers and reinforced the barriers around the colony. Mark and Tom took charge of training the others, sharing combat strategies and ways to defend against alien attacks. Lily, too, felt a new sense of purpose. She helped her parents gather supplies and organize the community. The experience had changed her. She was no longer just a girl. She was a leader, a symbol of hope for her people. As the days passed, the colony grew stronger. They worked together to gather intelligence on the aliens, scouting the area for any signs of danger. Lily, alongside Zorak, who had decided to stay and help, studied the remains of the mothership, learning everything they could about the technology they had faced. Then, one evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, casting a warm glow over New Hope, the community gathered for a meeting. Mark stood at the center, flanked by Lily and Tom. "We will not live in fear," Mark declared, his voice ringing with conviction. "We have faced the darkness and we have triumphed. Together we will prepare, and when the aliens return, we will be ready." The crowd erupted into cheers, their voices mingling in the twilight. They were a community united by their shared experiences and newfound strength. They had faced a terrifying enemy and emerged as a force to be reckoned with. As the stars twinkled above, marking a new chapter in their lives, Lily felt a sense of belonging. She looked around at her friends and family, all committed to standing strong against the challenges ahead. They were not just survivors, they were warriors, ready to face whatever the universe had in store for them. In that moment, Lily realized that no matter how dark the night, there would always be light. Together, they would fight to protect their home and each other. And so the story of their resilience began, a tale of hope, courage, and the unbreakable spirit of humanity.